And now I'd like to introduce our next speaker, MCBC Director and Presentation Coach and Lady Extraordinaire, JB Ryan, who led us all to this event today. So big hand for JB there. She is going to empower you with the 7 secrets to presenting with confidence. She has 20 years of international marketing and sales leadership experience and currently leads the Molson Coors Beverage Company's retail sales business in the Western US. Her career highlights include leading the turnaround of the Castle Light brand in South Africa, as well as the turnaround of Miller Lite in the US, and leading her team through successful brand retail launches such as Topo Chico Hard Seltzer and Simply Spiked Lemonade. And again, most importantly for this group, she spearheaded the committee behind this inaugural event and provided the endless source of energy to make it happen. So thank you, JB.
Thank you all. Thank you, Jane. And hi, Chicago. So wonderful to be here. I see a lot of people need a bathroom break. I'm going to start either way. I believe anyone can be an amazing, kick-ass presenter with enough courage, training, and practice. I promise you, you'll walk out of here a better public speaker than when you came in here. If you practice the 7 secrets I'm going to share with you today. Now, I know many of you, we've seen some of those, are already amazing presenters. To you, I would ask, take these secrets back to your team and go share it with those so that everyone can be more impactful presenters. I was born shy. Not a little shy like most kids these days. So shy, my mom had to take a blanket with her to women's group so that she could put it over a chair that I could hide underneath and play with my toys without anyone looking at me. I was so shy that my younger sister had to do all the talking. I remember one day I was walking home from school. It was a really hot day, over 100 degrees in Pretoria in South Africa, the little city where I live. And it was hot, I was sweating, I was walking, and I heard a car pull up next to me, and I looked, and it was one of my mom's friends. I looked over, and she said, "Do you want to ride?" I mean, I wanted a ride, but I was too shy to say yes. So I just shook my head, and there she went. But then I heard the car pull back. And as the car pulled back, I looked over and thought maybe she'll ask me again. And then I'm going to get the courage together and I'm going to ask her whether I can, yes, please jump in. But it was an old car. She was getting it into gear. And there she went. And that day, I walked home from school, sweating in the sweltering heat because I was too shy to say yes. It took many years for me to get from being that shy, low-confidence girl to a point where I'm confident. I love engaging and meeting people that I don't know, and I love sharing the secrets that helped me get from where I was to where I am now, a confident woman. But when you hear the word confident, what comes to mind for you? Think about it. What does confidence mean to you? To me, confidence starts with courage. Courage to do something you're afraid of. Something that you're not sure you're going to be good at. Something that you might not be good at all at first, but doing it in any case. We build confidence in self by doing the hard things. If I was to ask you today, describe yourself in 3 words, what would you say? Think about that. 3 words. On a good day, were you feeling great about yourself, confident? How would you describe yourself? In front of you, you'll see a card. At the top, there's a spot for you to write down those 3 words. Optimistic, energetic, analytical, difference maker. Whatever it is, 3 words that you believe you are or that you aspire to be. while you are doing that, you'll see that there are 7 words on that list, 7 bullets, the 7 secrets. Now, I haven't written all of them down because research has shown us that we forget 90% of what we hear in 24 hours. And I want you all to remember some of what I say today, so I'm going to make you write some of that writing. I see some people are still writing, so I'm going to give you another minute. Add the 3 words that best describe you, and don't overthink it, whatever comes to mind. Are you ready for the first secret to presenting with confidence? Here we go. Each one of us have a message written on our forehead. Every single one of us in this room has a message on our forehead. What we think of ourselves is what other people think of us. To change what other people think of us, we have to change what we think of ourselves. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you can't, you are right. We have to believe in ourselves before anyone else will believe in us. Muster the courage together to believe in yourself. That is really important when it gets to public speaking. When you're in front of people, your mind controls your body, your vocal cords, everything. Now, we know that message delivery consists of 3 parts. First, it's the words we use. Then it's our voice and our tone. And lastly, our body language. 3 components. Which one of these do you think contribute the most to your message? I'm going to ask you to raise your hands. Who feels the words that you use contribute the most to the message you deliver? And no one think that, okay? Who feels that it's the voice, your voice and your tone that contribute the most? Okay, so maybe it looks like 10, 15%. And I assume the rest of you say that it's body language. Raise a hand. Perfect. Well, you all get an A today. But some of these numbers might be astounding to you. 7% of what the message we deliver is actually the words we use. 38% is our voice and our tone. And our body language is 55%. That's why it's so critical to ensure that we have big, bold body language. But I bet you already knew that. You knew not to be shy and bent forward. I'm sure you know not to be on your phone or have your hand in your neck in an interview, or what I see often is speak behind your hand in a meeting. I bet you already know that you should have an open body and think about your body language and your appearance, because people make snap judgments. As soon as you walk in a room and people meet you, they judge you. That's just the way we are. They've done some research. They would give people 30-second clips of doctor-patient interaction. Soundless, just the interaction. And then people would be able to accurately predict whether those doctors will be sued based on their kindness. That's our body language. When I was this really shy child, my parents realized it's time for intervention and decided that I should do drama and theater lessons. Now, unfortunately, the best drama and theater teacher in all of my little neighborhood, suburb really, was also my grade 5 English teacher. And she called herself Whitney Witch. Tells you a little bit about her. And she'd give me prose or poetry to memorize, and then when I got to class, I better know those words. And I'd get to class, she would do a little lesson, give folks work to do or some reading, and then she'd call me in front of all these kids that I'm too shy to look in the eye, all these cool kids. She'd call me, Jeanette, come here. And then I'd have to come to the front of the class, and she would work out the stage moves. And jumping on a chair and crawling on the ground, all while I'm reciting this prose and poetry. But I learned something. I didn't know the science behind it at the time, but I didn't feel worse afterwards. You know, I did not want to speak to these kids. I was that shy kid in the corner. I didn't feel worse. I actually felt better about myself afterwards. And then only years later, when Amy Cuddy popularized her body language and the impact that our bodies have on our own minds, that I realized it's because the chemistry in my brain changed. When we do a 2-minute power pose, just 2 minutes, we actually alter the chemistry in our brain. More testosterone, less cortisol, and the result is that we have more courage and that we are more assertive. It's not hocus pocus, it's science. There's value in the power pose. Something else that my parents decided I need to do. They decided I need to sing at the Eisteddfod. Now, this really, really shy child had to sing, and Eisteddfod is like national and regional competitions. But the first song I ever sang, the words became my strategy and my lifeline. Goes like this. Whenever I feel afraid, I hold my head erect. The first cue, there's something about looking people in the eye. And whistle a happy tune, that's another one, smile. So no one ever knows I'm afraid. While shivering in my shoes, I strike a careless pose, so no one ever knows I'm afraid. Make believe you brave, and the trick will take you far. You will be as brave as you make believe you are. And now we're all going to practice that, the power of that additional testosterone, less cortisol, changing the chemical balance in our brains, and we're going to power pose together. So I want you all to get up, please. We're going to get up. We're going to power pose now. You can do the power pose you want, but I recommend you do the one that little Victoria is doing over there. You go for it, man, and I'm going to look at the timer. 2 minutes, because it takes 2 minutes for the chemistry. It takes 2 minutes for the chemistry in your brain to change. While you're doing this exercise, folks, ladies, dominantly ladies, I want to ask you, utilize this time. It's different, I know. Utilize this time to think about the 3 things that you wrote down. If you haven't written anything down, quickly make them up. The 3 things you are, and if you're not really quite sure, the 3 things you want to be. We design who we are. What are those 3 things? Powerful, energetic, positive, a difference maker, amazing, decisive. Those 3 things that you are, say them to yourself a couple of times. And once you've done that, we're about halfway there. Think of 3 things you are proud of yourself. You're the first person in your family who went to college. You're the most amazing choc chip cookie baker there is. You've run a half marathon. 3 things that you're proud of yourself. And feed that to your brain. Make that the message on your forehead. About 15 more seconds. There's power in this, and you're going to see how you're going to feel afterwards, what it does. It's science. And by doing this every time before you have to go into a situation where you will be evaluated, you can change the trajectory of your life. I know that. I've experienced it myself. Thank you all. You did amazing. Power posing. I'd like for you at your table to go around the table and share. Not a long conversation, just share your name and your 3 things. And then you feel how that feels. I'm JB, I'm optimistic, energetic, inspirational. Whatever it is, your name and the 3 things you are. Share it, and then I'll give you about a minute or 2, and we'll chat about that. Good. I'd like to hear from one or two people in the audience what you felt when you just shared with your mostly new friends, I suppose. Most of you don't know everyone at your table. Did you feel anything? Raise of hands if you want to share with me. I see quite a couple over there. I see two ladies. Yep.
I'm Stephanie Williams. I am passionate, loyal, and dependable.
Awesome. And I would like you to add, how did you feel saying that? Did you feel good? Anyone else? I see somebody else. Yeah.
JB, first of all, we didn't realize it was so hard to put your hands in the air for 2 minutes, so that's a lesson. It was quite interesting around our group because we all had themes, didn't we? Friendly, I think, around the table, and if it wasn't someone's third choice, it might have been the fourth. So, but it came out, it flowed really easily, didn't it, after talking about it, so it was great.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I'm happy you all got a little taste of it, but I ask you to try it at home. If you have to have a tough discussion with your spouse, if you need a on-the-level discussion with your boss, do that. Go to the restroom and for 2 minutes, power pose. And I want you I do that, Mary Lou, before every presentation, big presentation, I do the 2-minute power pose in the restroom. It's on your card. Write down, what are you going to do? What are those situations where you're going to utilize the power pose to give you the courage and the confidence and the assertiveness that you can benefit from? So you all know the first two secrets now. First secret is this confidence mindset, getting the message on our forehead right. The second one, leverage the power of your full body, this incredible tool God gave you that you can utilize to give you more confidence. We all know when somebody sounds nervous or confident. What do you think contributes more to voice than anything else? Breath. You got it, breath. Our ability to harness our breath is critical when we speak up or present in front of people. Now, we're going to get up another time. We're going to practice taking the right type of breath. Last time I'll make you stand up, promise. We're going to take a deep breath together, but before we do that, I do want us to practice the right position. The perfect position for public speaking is feet shoulder width apart. Weight equally distributed. Now we're going to breathe in, and we're going to breathe in while we raise our arms. And exhale. And that's your perfect position right there. Perfect position to present. I want us to not quite go sit yet. I also want you to take a breath, but before you do that, put your one hand on your belly and one on your chest. Now find a friend that you can see from the side, somebody next to you. And I want you to find a friend, make eye contact, that you can look at each other, and I want you to, while you breathe, we're going to do it together, look at which hand rises and falls, the chest or the belly. We're going to take 2 breaths together, and we're going to look at what our friend is doing, which hand is moving. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's take the second breath. Great, you all can sit. Who of you saw the hand on the chest rise and fall? I believe there should be more hands. Usually it's 90%. We breathe very shallow, whereas we've got unbelievable lung capacity that we are not leveraging. If you think about free divers or opera singers, they know how to access the full lung capacity. Now, it takes practice. Think of a balloon, breathing in and breathing out, and it's hard now while you sit. But getting the air into the belly, blowing it out like a balloon. I encourage you to go practice that at home, utilizing our breath properly. I do want to just reiterate, in life, we're not at a flat belly contest. That is not what's important. You want to ensure you lean into your power and you utilize this breath. The other very powerful tool, what our breath can do for us, is it can relax us and calm us before we go on stage and before we have to do some public speaking or any speaking for that matter. And I encourage you, if you don't do breathing exercises, it's fantastic to calm and relax you. I'm going to teach you just one, my favorite, Dr. Andrew Weil, his 4-7-8 method. You breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 7, you breathe out for 8. We can do it together. I want to ensure it's ingrained in your mind for future emergency situations. Okay, let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Hold. Blow out. I'm going to do another one. Hold. Blow out. You do this 7 or 8 times before you go on stage or get up in a meeting or have that really hard conversation with your boss, and you will be calm and relaxed. Powerful tool. Even if you're getting angry, doing it in the traffic, it's a powerful tool. The fourth secret is one of my favorites because it's so easy. We all know when people sound unprepared and not very confident. Guess what contributes most to that? Filler words. You know what I'm talking about? So, like, right? It doesn't look like many people here actually know what I'm talking about. What I'd encourage you to do is ask a friend to record you next time you present. Or in a Zoom call, all you do, your next Zoom call, you just click record on your phone, put it there, click record, and afterwards you listen to how you present. It's not the greatest the first time you do it, but you'd be surprised at how many filler words we all use. And you know what? It's so easy to get rid of them. I thought I had no filler words because I'm aware of this. And then 5-6 years ago, somebody made me aware of the fact that I use so all the time. It's a filler word. No need to use it. The trick, super easy and simple. You pause, you breathe, close your mouth, you collect your thoughts. Everyone that you just spoke with, have a moment to internalize everything you said, and you can continue speaking. What you say after that pause will be way more impactful. It will take practice, feel a little weird in the beginning, but I encourage you, introduce 3 to 5 second pauses, and you will never look back. You will sound so much more impactful. The fifth secret is also important. There are a couple of no-nos we have to avoid. If you want to be impactful and sound like you're confident, 3 things you should never do. Number 1, don't make your PowerPoint slide your script. Don't write every single thing that you want to say to your audience in bullet points on the PowerPoint and then you read it. You can have speaker notes, you can have notes in your hand, whatever you need, but don't put it all there for your audience. You are the storyteller. They want to hear from you. Best to try and memorize the majority of the content. If you go to have dinner at your mom's house, or maybe your mom-in-law's house, depends on who you're a little bit more afraid of. Would you ever walk in there with your shoes from the street and go sit at a dining room table and put your feet right on a dining room table with your shoes on? Nah, it's bad manners. You'd never do that. In the same way, it's really bad manners to turn your back on the audience and present like this. Now you might think, I'd never do that. I'd never turn my back on the audience. At least 70% of the presentations I go to, that's what happened. There's one big screen at the back, or there are 2 big screens. And in order for you to know where you are in the presentation, you have to turn around. Now, there are a couple of solutions here. The first one is know your content, that if you have to take a look, it's a quick glance. It's not the full body, it's just a quick glance, and you continue with your conversation. The other one, what I do is I arrive early, I'll try to arrive early, and then I go to the meeting host if the setup is not right. There's always a computer somewhere. Get a little bar table or one of the small tables, even a chair, and you prop a few things on the chair. You put the laptop there that you can see the screen to cue you, that you don't have to turn your back. Never turn your back on the audience. And then we tend to belittle ourselves. Don't make yourself small. Don't use words such as sorry. There are alternatives. You can rather say, thank you for your patience while I was getting back to you. Or, don't think, you already thought at home. Now you can just share what you want to share. That's the three no-nos. Our number 5 that we should always avoid. Number 6, presenting is a muscle that we build. Think of the best public speakers, the best people you've ever seen. They didn't start out that way. They practiced. They honed that skill over time. One of my favorite examples is Steve Jobs. We all loved watching him towards the end of his career. In the beginning, he wasn't very good at public speaking, but he honed that over many years. Winston Churchill, I don't know how many of you know who that is, but he was a very influential leader. When he was 29 years old, he had to make a speech at the House of Commons. He started talking for about 10 seconds, and then he froze. Not for 5 seconds or 10 seconds. He froze for a full 3 minutes. He couldn't get a word out. He was so embarrassed and so ashamed, he vowed that it would never happen again. And he started practicing and honing his craft. And you all know he helped to change the course of history for his country and became known as one of the best orators of his time. Practice 7 times out loud is my rule. Out loud. There's something about doing it out loud. 7 times out loud. I have to tell you a story. About 15 years ago, I had to give a big presentation in front of 1,000 people, just over 1,000 students. And I was pretty anxious at the time, and I was getting ready. And my partner at the time looked at me and said, "They're going to laugh at you." Needless to say, he's not my partner anymore. But I did take a girlfriend along. This friend of mine, she was a successful businesswoman in Bloemfontein, the little city where I lived in South Africa. And she thought I was amazing. She thought I was dynamic and successful and invincible. She's always thought that of me. And when I'm with her, I am those things. And I took her along, and she came with me, and I crashed that presentation. But what did I do that day? I had a believer. Get yourself a believer. Somebody that believes in you and believes in what you can do and cares about your public speaking. Somebody that will give you constructive feedback. There's another thing, though. It's great to have a believer, and if you can't find a believer, not even your mom, let me know. I would love to be your believer. We all need a believer. We all need a believer. But more important than having a believer is being a believer. Being a believer in yourself. You have to champion yourself. Those 3 words that you wrote down, engrave them in your heart, tattoo them, I don't care, but become those words. You have to be a believer. I live in sunny Southern California. It's beautiful every day. The ocean is there, and I love it. However, we've got these horrible black birds. Anyone from Southern California? Horrible black birds, and they make a horrible sound, like ka-ka-ka. Horrible. And, whether you're on the golf course or at the beach, you have these birds, always. Each one of us have a black bird on our shoulder, telling us why we can't be successful, why you can't be a good mom and have a full-time job, while you can't have a team and manage people that are 20 years older than you. They're not going to care about what you have to say. why you can't go and make that tough presentation or have an on-the-level conversation with your boss. Your most important job in life is to knock that effing bird off your shoulder. That's your 7 secrets today. Have a confidence mindset. Have a confidence mindset. Those 3 words, remember, people see those words. The confidence mindset, have those 3 words with you. Lean into your full body power. Utilize your big breath. Use the magic of the pause. Practice the pause. Avoid the no-nos of reading and turning your back and making yourself small. Practice 7 times. And knock that effing bird on the ground, and you will be amazing.